Hey guys, I'm Shahaf,
And I'm Sophia.
and this is our podcast, Wellness.
So today we decided to talk about a topic that is really common to everyone in high school, and it's high school parties, which I think is very an important part of our life. Also going to university and all of that. So I think starting off kind of a question, what is your experience with high school parties?
So thank you, Sophia, for asking me that. Um, I personally grew up in a small town in a bubble, but then when I was exposed to international education, I started, being more aware of I guess a more of like a Western lifestyle, I guess you can say, with like watching all these high school movies with like huge parties and stuff like that. So that's kind of when I really became familiar with the in a way glorification of especially high school parties.
Yeah.
um it was really glorified as these like huge events that like the entire grade is like invited to, and like someone's house and everyone goes ham and just like has a great time. So I always wanted to experience that. However, because kind of starting my experience with, I guess you can say, parties started with like house parties back in Estonia, but only a couple of them. And then when I came here to Prague, I realized that it's not as common. What was really common though is going clubbing, especially before COVID. So I actually went, I think, like 3 times in 10th grade before COVID hit, to a club where it's like also teenagers like are admitted, like are permitted to go in. And I remember having an amazing time there, like just dancing with my friends and really just having a good time. And also I kind of carried that out in 11th grade in the summer. I went to a lot of parties in people's houses and clubs. I personally love them when I feel like I'm in control, because I'm a huge control freak. I'm a type A personality. So if I like, you know what I mean? Like if I feel like the situation is getting out of hand, then I don't have a good time and I will probably see myself leaving the scenery. But I've never really had experience, thank goodness, where I didn't feel like I was in control. I always have good times at parties. Just because I love, like dancing with the music, like, with good music and just really being with all of my friends. I feel like it's also like a really great way to kind of de- detoxify. Is that a word?
I guess, yeah, for sure.
Yeah. Yeah,
Like,
like I found it, in the summer I was having like genuine anxiety from starting my senior year, and I remember that every time I would go out with my friends to a party, I would find it really in a way relaxing. It's a sort of escapism mechanism, which I love.
yeah.
What about you, Sophia?
Well, have a quite different experience, and I mean, I grew up in a small town, like class of 26 people, and so
Hmm.
I went there for 8 years, and it was never a thing, even to have a party or whatever. So
Hmm.
yeah, I always watch these like American movies, and I always wish like, oh, I wish we did this. And so when I moved to Prague, I thought I would be doing this a lot. But I
Hmm.
think partly because of my English and kind of being really shy, I didn't really get because okay, our school and a lot of private schools are really, really like cliquey, and
Oh,
you kind of
yes.
need to get into a group where you can feel comfortable and where you get well like invited, all of that. And so kind of failed at that, but then at the same time, it's not something that I actually really wish I was doing a lot. I mean, we went out
Yeah.
together a couple of times, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I wanted to ask you about that. When I took you clubbing on your 18th birthday, like it was definitely like a new experience for you because you've
Wonderful.
never gone before. So like how was it for you?
I mean, I think okay, like again, I think I have a very different personality from you and from a lot of people in our class in that I'm
Mhm.
kind of closed up a little bit. So I was like, I don't know how I feel about it. But then when you actually go, it's really nice because you see all these people. We met our classmates. It was kind of awkward,
Yeah.
but at the same time, it was fun because everyone like there's no school, like you just forget about all the stress especially I think in senior year, it just
Yes.
makes everything go away. And even though I didn't feel like 100% comfortable, obviously, because it's like a new thing for me, but it was still nice. And I think for everyone listening, I think, like whenever, if you get an opportunity, like grade 9, 10, whatever, you should take it. Just
Yeah.
so you're safe, obviously. And
Right. Like if you feel comfortable with it.
yeah, and I mean, sometimes you will feel uncomfortable, but you just need to get out of your comfort zone, which I fail to do a lot, like often. But I think
Again, as long as it's healthy.
yeah, no, like obviously not forcing yourself, because at that point there is no use in that.
Yeah,
But just, because it's a nice way to relieve your stress
for sure.
and all of that.
For sure. Yeah, I would like to divert kind of this little introduction of ours to, I think, something more serious, which is actually what goes down at parties. I feel like it is extremely stereotypical, but with good reasoning, to claim that, high school parties is where like all the drugs and the alcohol is, like all the toxins. Um, and I mean, those claims they often don't fail from coming very close to the truth. Let's put it that way. Um, and um, yeah, I feel like it's a huge problem that like people might not be talking about. It might be a bit more like taboo, but I actually think the more you address it, and that's what we're here for, like the more you address it, the less of a problem it becomes, if you know what I mean.
Yeah,
Because I just feel like, for example, with the whole topic of drugs, I feel like it is so common, like it's literal common knowledge for adults and for students as well, to acknowledge that yes, there's definitely strong presence of people who take drugs or drink more than they should. But I feel like um often those bigger institutions kind of fail to address such problems. Like I can speak for our school. In 10th grade, we watched like a documentary about vaping, and that was kind of it.
yeah,
Like, I don't know how it was in ninth grade for you, because I wasn't at our school at that time. But when I was in ninth grade, we didn't really address those things. We
yeah,
like briefly talked about, the hard drugs. But that's it. And I feel like a lot of these like education like lessons, I guess you can say, about drugs, it's more about like um scaring us away from it. And I'm in no way, shape, or form saying, yeah, like encourage students to do cocaine. Um but more of like, don't approach it and like scaring us away. You know what I mean? Because that will make us want it more.
yeah. I think I mean, they do explain like all the bad side effects, but I think, for example, okay, whenever you go to a party, and I mean, sometimes it's just fun times without like any drugs or alcohol, but
Mhm.
sometimes, especially if you decide to go alone without your friends, you can feel pressured to do
Yeah.
something. And
Oh
I
yeah.
think our school doesn't really teach us how to
I
say
say
no.
no.
Okay, like we are adults, so we're kind of supposed to be able to do that. But I think a lot of people
So
just
not true.
cannot do that, because it's also kind of, like mental, you need the courage to do so. And I
Mhm.
think it's kind of making us, I don't know, confident in the fact that we have the right to say no to some things.
Definitely.
And yeah, I mean, obviously, like I would say trying drugs is not a good idea. uh,
Probably not.
and so if anyone is pressuring you, obviously there is, I mean, I don't know, I used to not be able to, say no to a lot of people.
Yeah.
But I never tried anything, but I still felt really scared for some reason, because there's this always like, it's kind of stigmatized to say no to these experiences when you're in a group, because everyone thinks you're
Mhm.
boring, but
Yeah.
you are in fact just taking care of your health.
Yeah.
And I think, yeah, if you just don't want to do anything like that.
No, I 100% agree. I remember there was a scene in the first season of Pretty Little Liars where in school they were taught how to say no. They put them in like these fake scenarios where they had to kind of do like a role play make believe kind of thing with their classmates, and they really put them, like one person would play kind of like, really pressuring the other student to do whatever it was, and then the other student had to like really learn how to say no and kind of how to respond to each like argument in a way, that the pressuring person is putting on them. So I think it's really really important, like you said, Sophia, just like learn how to say no, because so many bad decisions are made with people that didn't even have the intentions of getting high, getting drunk, whatever, but they ended up just feeling bad because they don't want to feel boring compared to their friends.
Yeah, that's true. I mean, I actually I forgot that they had that in Pretty Little Liars, and I think that's actually maybe something Stuco could do because they are responsible for like well-being as well or whatever. Like,
Yeah.
something that the school could totally organize. I think maybe especially for the like freshmen and sophomores because I think that's because I got more confident with age, so to say. Like in grade 9 and 10, I would be more vulnerable, I would say. And I think that's the time when you really need to, show the students that, like it's your decision. So you
Yeah,
can
it's in your hands.
decide. And I think also with teaching us about what, like, drugs and alcohol, I, yeah, I think like showing us all these videos. I mean, also all of us know this. So they're just kind of trying to scare us and trying to show
Yeah.
us
Yeah,
things.
like I know cocaine is bad for my health. I know I should not do drugs, I should not drink. I know that, like, for a fact. Like we talk about it. Like, I don't know, even in psychology, we ended up, talking about this kind of stuff because it is, related. I'm sure in biology you talk about stuff like that, right?
A little bit, yeah. So I think that's yeah, because it's at this point it is common knowledge. So I think they need to go deeper into if they want to prevent us from making
Yeah,
poor decisions.
for sure.
Mhm.
Now I'm actually really glad that there are shows like Euphoria, for example, where they really show the
Oh yeah.
messed up side of, well, with the case of Euphoria, I actually have not seen anything but the first episode because it was too much for me. But I feel like they're representing kind of the extreme, the addicted part to it, which obviously like would literally apply to any school. Like I think in any school there's someone who's addicted to some sort of substance. But I feel like it's really good that now these shows like Euphoria kind of address the ugly parts of drugs, and I don't think that they're like glamorizing it in any way, shape, or form. For like only from the first episode that I saw. Um
Yeah, they aren't. I think they really show how messed up it can get and how easily you can get addicted to something, which I think that also should be a focus when they're trying to teach us about, like the fact that we should not start taking drugs because of how easily you can get addicted and then
yeah.
I mean from then on it just can get really bad.
Yeah, like don't try because you never know if this will be your last time.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, like you start but you don't know if you're ever going to be able to stop, which is such a problem. um
Oh my god, can you share the call? Sorry.
that scared me. um I think that also a big part is kind of like looking up to certain things, like for example Euphoria, or like in Gossip Girl, when they talk about it a lot. Yeah, like I feel like for especially in Gossip Girl, it's kind of really glorified, that
Yeah.
whole idea of drugs and alcohol, kind of associated with like Upper East Side, like rich kids. um and that's just not true. First of all, um but yeah, like they don't really emphasize the harsh effects. And I'm not saying go watch Euphoria right now because
Don't.
that show was not for me, let's put it that way, but I know it's really eye-opening. And I think that, like in schools especially, they should address maybe like not show us an episode of Euphoria, but really just address the ugly side of this kind of stuff, but again, not in a way to like scare us away, but in a way to show us this is what addiction looks like,
Yeah.
and it's dangerous, you know?
No, yeah, for sure. Because I think, hearing about it is different from seeing it. And even though it is a TV show, I would say, I mean, I don't know what addiction looks like, but I think a
Yeah.
lot of people, and yeah, a lot of people said it's pretty accurate and you can see it. And I think even though I never had experience with any toxins, that really scared me. Like when I
Yeah.
watched it, I was like, wow. And it scared me not in this like, oh, like never do drugs. I was just like, wow, like this can really happen to a person, to
Mhm.
a minor, which I found so scary. Like the fact that you can go from being completely healthy and physically and mentally to being completely destroyed. And I think that's something that really needs to be emphasized rather than just telling us, oh, drugs are bad for you. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. But also now that we talked about like drugs and kind of home parties, I think we can go back to clubbing and also the idea of like,
Mhm.
because it's a lot of people in one small room and it's
Yeah.
really warm and some people are drunk. So how
Gets
do
hot
you
and heavy.
yeah, how do you personally find this atmosphere, so to say?
Yeah. Well, at first I found it like a bit overwhelming, a bit stuffy. Um, but I've grown like in a way used to it. You're never really used to it. Like even if you think you're fine with it, but then you go outside and you get the first like, sniff of fresh air, then you're like, "Oh my God, I've literally been suffocating in there." Um but I feel like it's so 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 important. Like I'm gonna lay out now my rules when I go out that allow me to protect myself. Um, so first of all, never go alone anywhere. That will be the most stupid thing that you could ever do. Even if you have to go to the bathroom, you go with three people with you, not just you and another friend. You go with three people, like immediately, and you go to the bathroom with them. Like they're not waiting for you outside. You're in there with them. I'm really serious about this because like this is where all the bad stuff happens essentially.
Yeah.
If you end up getting a drink from the bar, always watch it being made in front of you. And
Never leave it
and
and
never, yeah, never, how could I forget that? Never leave it alone. And if you end up, being distracted, like you're not fully, like you don't have your eyes full on your drink, you have to cover the opening of the bottle, of the cup, whatever it is, with your hand, like fully cover it to make sure no one puts anything suspicious in there, like something that shouldn't be there. Especially if you're on the dance floor, it's really easy to just kind of like, spring your arms like up in the air, and then someone taller than you don't even notice, boom, they put something in the cup and you would not want to drink it. um and just generally like really stay in a big group. I always find it that when I go only with another friend or like with two friends, it's just, I don't know, I feel not as safe. So always go with a big group. And also never ever 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 drink from a bottle that's not been opened in front of you. So if someone wants to, like, I don't know, buy you a drink, or someone invites you to their table and you see all these drinks laid out, don't drink them because you don't know what's inside of them. So always consume what you're consuming.
yeah,
Does that make sense? Like I'm really serious about this. This is like the most important thing that you need to keep in mind. And also mind you that you can have fun while still being careful. Like, I find myself to be kind of a bit of like the mom of the group, so when we go out, I make sure everyone is like hydrating well, drinking what they need to be drinking, and not putting themselves in danger. But I still end up, although I'm technically like taking care of people, which might, seem to other people as kind of like a burden. I actually don't see that as a burden at all. It makes me feel more safe and actually results in me having a lot more fun than I would have if I felt like my friends were in danger.
yeah, for
You know
sure.
what I mean?
Yeah. And I mean I think that's kind of a sad reality that a
Yeah.
place people usually have fun can also be dangerous. Because I mean there are many cases like I mean, not to talk about serial killers, but I think Ted Bundy, that was kind of one of
Yeah.
the places. And I think that's why, I mean, when we went, obviously, like some people talked to us. And I think that's why it's
Hmm.
important that when you talk to a stranger, first of all, you're never alone with them. Even
Yes.
if it's like on the dance floor, like whatever. And you never talk too much to them. Like when you and I went, we made up like a full on new personality.
Yeah, like if you I usually never even use my real name sometimes. My the ultimate name that I use is Sarah. It's just a trick that my cousin taught me when I was like in the ninth grade. So that's like even my name when I do Starbucks orders, since like the ninth grade. Um, so I never like say where I really live. And unless like I know the person, of course, but I never like also give them my number. Nope. Nope, 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 nope. And Instagram, if I do, I give them like my private account that doesn't even have my real name in the bio, and I never use it. So they have no way to contact me in a way, unless I really want to keep in touch with them. And then that's a different story. But I usually don't really trust the people, the random new people that I meet there.
Yeah. So I think that's why it's important to be careful. Like,
Yeah.
don't tell them too much. Obviously, you can talk a lot and you can have fun, and these people can actually turn out to be really nice. But
Yeah,
I think
for
you can
sure.
never know it. And even then, I mean, after 1 hour of talking to them, you can still never know what their real intentions are. So I think it's just
Yeah.
important to kind of, I mean, I guess stay within your group and just don't go alone. I mean, obviously talk to others, but just don't put yourself in danger
Yeah.
because you never really know.
Yeah, exactly. And also like if you do end up consuming any substances like alcohol or drugs, just make sure you know your limit and you don't go overboard to a point where you can't control yourself anymore, because then that puts you in a really uncomfortable and unsafe position, as well as the other people and the rest of your group. Because, if you go out with people you truly know and people that truly care about you, then they will also be concerned for your health, and they would, want to make sure that you're staying safe, and that can sometimes rob people of their good experiences a little bit. I'm saying that from personal experience, that sometimes an entire night would be ruined for me because my friend didn't know their limit, and I ended up, like taking care of them because I didn't want them to, put themselves in dangerous situations. So I was always like with them. And I'm not like, I think I'm sounding like a bit selfish right now, but to be honest, everyone in the big group agreed that it robbed them of their experience a little bit. So just make sure that you really know your limit and that you don't put you and your others in danger.
Yeah.
That's it, I guess.
Yeah. But I think also, I mean, we can probably discuss the idea that, some people just never go. And I think kind of this, I never go to a party and never experience
Yeah.
something like that. And I think, I mean, I went, I don't know, 3 times, 4 times in my whole life. And I think, I mean, maybe I missed out on some things, but I think if you, the person who is listening to us right now,
Yeah.
really had this experience, I think it's not something to really regret and be depressed about because first of all, there's
Not
also
at all.
university. When you can make all these experiences again, it's kind of a fresh start. Second of all, there's so many other things that can make you have fun, make you
Mhm.
connect with other people. So you don't have to go to a club, you don't have to go to a big party. And yeah, I just don't think that's something anyone really has to regret because they always say, oh, like while you're young, do all the things, but you can
But that's
also
not true.
yeah.
Yeah, like, yeah, I totally agree. You're more likely to go out when you're 18 rather than when you're 80. And if you're 80 years old and you go out, so much respect for that person. Oh my God. But sometimes, people's fun is to, I don't know, curl in bed with a book or like with a good movie. And I even do that sometimes, rather than, going out, because sometimes, I need to like recharge.
Yeah.
So I feel like it should be really normalized, because it's not right now, to like, people think like a normal teenager goes out and does like all the wild things, because they're young and they can. But some people don't prefer that, which is totally fine.
Yeah.
So don't like feel bad about it, and your time, will come. And even if it doesn't, even if you're after university and you feel like parties are not your scene, don't go. But I mean, like, never kind of say no because it's a party. Like, if it's, I don't know, like something fun, like a Halloween party and you really love Halloween, go try it out. You can always leave.
Yeah, yeah,
You
that's
can always leave. And Rory Gilmore
mhm,
started out with not being very
integrated into the whole kind of clubbing. Well, not very,
yeah.
but like, yeah, I think in university also, you start fresh. So if you never really found like
Mhm.
a big group at school, in university that's where everyone really starts off fresh. Everyone comes to their first year, and you can meet new people. But also, again, as we said, there are just many other experiences you can have also with a big group. Because, for example, I know my friend, they're just doing like dinner parties, which is kind of this classic way or whatever. And I think that's something you can do to still, because I think for me, for example, having a party would be more about connecting with people. And I think when I went, when was it? Well, it was something with you, and I think we had some other classmates of ours, and it was actually really fun
Your
talking to
birthday
them.
party?
No, yeah, that as well. But no, there was something else when we were at your house, and I just talked to some of my classmates.
Oh, yeah, 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 yeah.
It was so nice to talk to them outside of school, and that's kind of when I realized I was like, oh, I wish I were friends with them, but it never really worked out, so that's fine. But I think that's for me, for example, parties are mainly to connect with people, also have fun, but it's just like, I don't know, communicating. So
100%.
you can find a
100%.
replacement for that.
Yeah, I think that is such a good, like conclusion to be made about this episode. Kind of like still, experience things, but don't do anything you're uncomfortable with or anything that puts you in danger. So just know yourself, I guess you can say, but also trying these things out is a process of getting to know yourself, what you like, what you don't like, where you want to hang, where you don't, etc.
Yeah. Yeah, so we hope you really like this episode, and hopefully it was somewhat helpful for you to kind of, clear your mind and understand where you stand. And well, if you have a party planned, we hope you stay safe
Yes.
and have fun. If you have a nice, calm evening planned, we also hope you have fun. Again, that's something you can enjoy just as much as you would enjoy a party. And
Amen.
yeah, I think that would be it for today.
Yeah. All right. So we hope you guys enjoyed this episode. Don't forget to subscribe and like this video and share this episode with your friends as well. We love you so much. Thank you for listening and supporting us. And we will see you in the next episode.
Yeah, bye bye.
Bye, guys.